the courtroom, hear those victim impact statements here, and we know that those certainly play a role with the judge and the final decision the judge will make. So we are paying close attention to that. And remember, Deputy Chavis left behind a 4-year-old son at the time. Well, some lawmakers and candidates alike are putting more pressure on Governor Greg Abbott to announce a day for a special election to fill the 18th congressional district. As we know, unfortunately, it is vacant right now after the passing of Congressman Sylvester Turner. Abbott has already missed the first date that was originally scheduled for May to fill out the paperwork and get it on the ballot here. And some political analysts speculate that he will wait to put it off until November because naturally that has an impact here on the House of Representatives in D.C. It's very close there, so leaving that seat vacant gives his Republican teammates, I guess, or other Republicans there in Congress an edge. So we're going to be listening now to Representative Jolanda Jones and what she has to say about this ongoing issue.
We are state representatives and senators who have constituents in Congressional District 18, and we are standing in solidarity asking Governor Abbott to call a special election so our constituents have federal representation. I'll make my statement first, and then each of my colleagues have something to say on this issue because that vacant seat affects our constituents. I've got one thing to say to Governor Abbott today. Barbara Jordan must be spinning in her grave. Congresswoman Jordan not only represented Texas's historic 18th congressional district, but was also the first black woman ever elected to Congress in the South. She famously said, "My faith in the Constitution is whole, it is complete, it is total." It is a sad day in Texas when we can't say the same thing about our governor. The truth is that Governor Abbott is rigging the U.S. Congress to protect Republicans. My constituents in House District 147, who all reside in the historic 18th Congressional District, are without representation in Washington today only because he knows that Congressional District 18 will elect a Democrat. That is their choice under the Constitution, Mr. Governor. As a state representative, I work with Congresswoman Jackson Lee and also with Congressman Sylvester Turner, and we partnered on issues to deliver results for our collective constituents. Right now, our communities are missing that state and federal punch that we had before the seat became vacant. That, Governor, is unacceptable. Please call a special election today and let the people vote.
Is the message there from Representative Jolanda Jones. Now, Governor Abbott's office has said that a date will be set at a later time. We don't know his timeline just yet, but folks are definitely paying close attention to it. But now, State Representative Jones has not officially filed yet, nor has at-large Houston Councilmember Letitia Plummer, but both of them say they are considering runs. Now, the 18th Congressional District has a very deep and rich history. This is the same district that was represented for decades by the late Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee. So this seat has a lot of people that will be eyeing it, but some of the people we know who have already filed. So give me a second. Let me read some of these people off this list. We have, they go on your screen. We have the County Attorney, Christian Menifee. We have 5th Ward Community Advocate James Joseph. We have former at-large council member Amanda Edwards. We have businessman Robert Slater, Kiwanis Polis, and Isaiah Martin. Republicans Cyrus Sanja, and Independents Daryl Sherrod Turner and Christopher Beal, just to name a few. We expect that list can definitely increase as you look at independents here as well. We have Tejas Tupera, as well as Chance Davis and Darrell Turner. So lots of folks here eyeing the 18th Congressional District, and you also see here we have 2 Republicans looking to eye this seat that have filed already. We have Deshaun Porter and Cyrus Sajna. So again, 18th Congressional District, we expect lots of folks here to jump in this race. Again, this is just the people that we know that have filed as of right now. They can still file, and we know because we don't have a date set yet by the governor, it's kind of open-ended with the 18th, but at the end of the day, the people living in the 18th congressional district do not have representation in DC. So that's a big story for us here. All right, switching gears a little bit here, let's talk about TikTok. We got a deadline. It's 2 days away. There's been a lot of back and forth on whether or not it will actually get banned. So here's anchor Delon Dillard, who spoke with Bree Fowler of CNET about the need for a non-Chinese buyer and how a deal could potentially get done.
Let's just start with just the obvious. First and foremost, is ByteDance even interested in selling?
You know, they've been very quiet lately. It wasn't that long ago where they basically said that a sale was off the table, and also that even if they wanted to go forward with a sale, that the Chinese government would block it. So, you know, this has been a huge roadblock to any kind of a deal up until now, but that may be changing.
So we saw what happened back in January. It went dark for what TikTok did for like a day or so, barely even 24 hours. What will happen on Saturday, this upcoming weekend, if there is no buyer?
I mean, in theory, the same thing could happen again. I remember, looking at my phone that night, and then all of a sudden TikTok went dark. You just got an error message. That could happen again. All signs kind of point to, at the very least, President Trump extending the deadline, kind of punting and kicking the can down the road a little bit longer.
So he can do that.
Yeah, he can do that. The only reason that didn't happen last time was because the deadline was actually the day before the inauguration. So there was kind of this, what's going to happen? No one really knew kind of thing. But, all signs also kind of point to a deal, too, maybe coming down today or tomorrow. And that could involve a sale, that could involve some kind of joint venture agreement with ByteDance. No one really knows at this point.
Let's bring people back up to speed here. Why is TikTok even at this point being banned in the first place from a Chinese buyer, Chinese ownership?
Well, back last year during the Biden administration, Congress passed a law that gave TikTok, a certain amount of time to sell itself to a non-Chinese buyer, because there were concerns about national security, about how, the Chinese government could control TikTok and use it to spread disinformation, to spread Chinese propaganda, but that also it could collect all of that data, which ByteDance does. It collects the data, but that it could fall into the hands of the Chinese government, a lot of personal details about Americans, and be used for espionage or just against normal people down the road.
Gotcha. Yeah, and that was a bipartisan effort on both sides of the aisle. Democrats and Republicans both agreed with that. Let's talk about here, speaking of data, if you want to save your data, save your videos, just in case the app goes dark. So many people didn't do that back in January. Walk us through that. How do you do this?
You can download the data, just go into the app and, find those videos that, you think are really important to you, save it to your phone. It's not that hard. Honestly, I don't think this is going to happen. Never hurts. But, the whole thing about TikTok is a lot of this stuff is just, keep scrolling, keep seeing new things. And that's why a lot of people are worried about its effect on kids. So, do you really need to save any of that?
Some people want their old videos and stuff like that, just in case the app goes dark. So potentially, if it does, might be wise to go ahead and save those videos just in case. Bree, we always appreciate you when it comes to tech.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
All right.
All right, that's a good interview. We'll see what happens when you got 2 more days to see if TikTok lives or dies. All right. So ICE Houston, they just released some latest numbers here for us on an operation to continue to remove criminal immigrants here in the U.S. Anchor Sally McDonald takes a look at those numbers and kind of breaks it down and makes some sense of it for us.
We have breaking immigration enforcement news coming out of Houston on this Thursday morning, April 3rd. We just got new numbers from the ICE Houston field office for the last 2 weeks in March. ICE Houston tells us they deported 174 illegal immigrants to Mexico, all previously convicted of crimes. So in fact, combined, those 174 illegal immigrants account for 610 criminal convictions. Let's break down the numbers a little bit more for you here. 96 of those convictions are related to violent crimes. We're talking crimes like homicide, sexual assault, or aggravated assault. The list also includes 83 convictions for drug trafficking, 146 convictions for driving while intoxicated, and 22 convictions for human smuggling related offenses. Now, many of the 174 criminals deported have illegally entered the U.S. several times and